How is it going, guys? Welcome back to episode number 3 of Around the CHL. And real quick, before we get started, I want to say one thing. I already feel repetitive for some reason. We're only 3 episodes in. Feel a little repetitive. If it feels repetitive to you, you guys have ideas or anything, some sort of segments you want to see, I'm always willing to listen, always willing to change things up. I'm going to try to do my best to not make every single week seem repetitive and completely the same thing every single week. But starting off this week, though, there's really not a lot going on around the CHL. One thing we did see come up once again was teams taking forfeits or attempting to take forfeits. So I was just kind of thinking maybe a quick idea here, a new forfeit rule. What do you guys think about a new forfeit rule? We all know forfeits are a great time. The team receiving the win, they always tell you the other team wasn't ready, they weren't responsive, they'd have 6 people. While the losing team will go out there and obviously tell you they were ready. They was ready to go, they never got an invite, team took the forfeit. And just to be perfectly clear, that is not the exact situation that happened in these Titans, these Kingston forfeits, quote unquote, taken, attempted to be taken in the last couple weeks. But it seems to always come down to one thing, and that's time. Personally, I'm not one to take forfeits myself, but then again, I don't want to sit in a lobby for 25 minutes waiting on your team to get ready either, you know what I mean? And personally, probably not a popular idea, but I think a team should be able to call forfeit at 8:31. Now, hear me out. First of all, that's game time. The game time's 8:30. If they say game time starts at 8:30, the puck drops at 8:30. Unless, of course, you're playing in the NFL, in which you get the Subway commercial at 8:30, and then kickoff precedes the Subway commercial. But if you force guys to be there at 8:31, or they're going to take a forfeit, guess what? They're probably not going to take a forfeit. Instead of waiting to show up in the dressing room at 8:35, they're going to show up in the dressing room at 8:25, 8:27. They're going to be ready to surge at game time, which is 8:30, by the way, in case some of us did not happen to know yet. Because I can tell you right now, firsthand, in every game I've played this season, I'm pretty sure there hasn't been a single time our entire team was ready to go at 8:30. And it really isn't an excuse. I mean, you can go out there and say, well, you know what, people have connection problems. You're absolutely right. My internet blows. But you know what? I don't remember the last time I was holding my team up to connection problems. Get online 10 minutes before the game time. Make sure your connection's working. Make sure you can get in there. If you have connection problems, you probably know about it. Get in the lobby and be prepared. And like I was saying, it's just some random pitch that's probably going to go nowhere, and I don't really expect it to go anywhere. It's just, you know, some sort of idea to throw out there. And it's the fact that you're going to take a forfeit at 8:31, and then instead of saying, well, you can have a grace period from 8:41 to 8:46 or whatever it is, you can say, well, you know what, if both teams agree to a grace period to 8:41, that's great. But at least then when you force that 10 minutes, that's an extra 15 minutes, essentially, that somebody's not waiting. If you're waiting 25 minutes, now all of a sudden you're only waiting an extra 15 minutes compared to game time if you was there. Because right now it feels like you're almost punishing the guys that want to show up on time. Like everybody's in the lobby, 8:28, 8:29, 8:30. Those guys get punished because other guys want to slack off, play Banana League, do whatever they're doing, and make you wait another 10, 15, 20 minutes. And because of right now the way the forfeit rule is, once you say, oh, go ahead and take your time past 8:41, you have to wait that extra 15 minutes. And that's why we see these controversial forfeits we've been getting lately, where guys are waiting 25 minutes, whether they are waiting or not waiting, because they didn't call the forfeit at 8:41. That just, for whatever reason, gives the other team unlimited time, which, I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there, because, you know, the way it looks right now, guys intentionally don't even show up till 8:33, 8:35, because they just don't expect the game to get started. They're just like, that's fine, right? And because everybody prolongs that 7-8 minutes, then you prolong another 10 minutes when there's problems connecting to the game, getting the servers going, because God forbid EA servers works properly anytime in the last ever. Especially this year, it has been rough. And I completely understand forfeits aren't wanted by the league. I get that. I completely understand it doesn't make the league look great. It doesn't make the team's owners and management or anything else like that look great. But people do have lives. Everyone does get on here and do this in their free time. Let's keep that in mind. And those people waiting 30 minutes, they're just as unhappy as those people taking a forfeit. I can tell you that right now. Just a thought. It's completely just a thought. Let's jump over to our 3 stars of the week, starting with our Netminder, NVD space I space 1 space a whole bunch of extra unnecessary letters in the gamer tag. He put up a nice 5-0 week with 3 shutouts, a 93.5% save percentage, 0.6 goals against average. One thing to be noted, he didn't see a lot of shots. That's probably got part to do with the fact that, you know, they traded him from the team. All of a sudden, he doesn't see a lot of shots. No coincidence there, but it can be overlooked because shots or no shots, he stonewalled 4 of the best teams in the QMJ this week. Very solid week out of NB. Moving to our defensive star is Bardowski X87. The Mississauga Steelhead himself went 3-0. Only allowed 1 goal the entire week. Granted, he did play 3 teams that only averaged 1 goal every 3 games. It was still one of the best defensive performances to lock the opposing team down and keep your team in it. 13 takeaways as well if you're into that kind of thing, I guess. Then Prime 80 NJ is our forward star of the week. Knocked off the second-ranked team in the conference this week with a convincing 6-point performance, totaling 13 points in his 3-0 week with the Prince Albert Raiders. Nice week out of Prime. Still like him in net, but he's doing pretty good out there at forward right now. And then a little segment I'd like to do this week is the Built for Playoffs and Built to be Bounced in the First Round segment. Starting off with the Mississauga Steelheads. We just talked them up. They're 33-16-5 this season. Headed by leading point scorer and owner Magical Datsuk. They sit atop their division, but they sit atop it with a leading point scorer and owner who appears to be doing the dirty, the S word, the scrub hunting. Now, I don't know the team's availability, of course. I mean, some people's work schedules get a little hectic. They usually somehow magically align with not being able to play the same nights Owen Sound and Hamilton are on the schedule, which has seemed to be the case so far for Magical Datsuk, who hasn't played either of those two teams this season. He hasn't been able to fly over there to North Bay either, ever since it seems like their team started turning it around over there earlier in the season. An owner that's afraid to play the good teams always turns out to be a recipe for disaster come playoff time. Sees how his team just getting handled out there when they're playing these top lines without him for the most part. I find it very hard to believe these guys are getting out of the second round. They're even a good candidate to be upset in the first round. In contrast, the team built for the playoffs is the Owen Sound Attack. You look at these guys, they do it every year. They just lock you down on defense. Good luck. We'll lock you down on defense, we'll score a goal or two, and we'll beat you. That's what they do, and that's the thing with Mississauga. Look, well, they're good at scoring goals, but they're not very good at stopping it. You come to playoffs, goals come harder to come by, and all of a sudden, your defense ain't holding up, your offense ain't scoring goals. All of a sudden, you're bounced in the first round. For Owen Sound, though, anything short of conference finals will be an absolutely huge surprise to me. This team's built to make a playoff run. Seems like they have quite the favorable schedule getting the conference finals as well. Then how about your car? 35-16-3. I'm going to go out on a little bit of a limb here and say these guys make a deep run. It appears, as I like to call them, the so-called old Kamloops boys split up before the season started. Now only half of them's on the team this season. The big question is at the right half, because these guys have been very good at putting together solid teams during regular season to be walked out the door in the second round of the playoffs. I think this may be the season they surprise some people, though. They appear to have a couple solid defensive and offensive lines, and that's all it takes. I'm not sure about the third line, but it don't matter. Play your cards right, and you won't need that third line. The Q does appear to be getting stronger and stronger as the season progresses, so the task ahead for Dragar could be tough, but they look built for the grind. Then finally, how about the Tri-City Americans? 30-20-4 on this season. Seems like these guys are always at the head front of a first-round upset and bounce in their first round. Oh, we call that the bulging twine effect? Here we go again. Tri-City leads their division once again. It appears to be a weak division, which, you know, again, we'll find out more come playoffs because the W scheduling's just absolutely ridiculous right now. So you can't really completely determine how good or bad these WHL teams are. But I'm just not convinced they can last in playoffs. Another team that allows a lot of goals. You need defense come playoffs. The offense will help you, but it's not going to get you as far as defense is going to get you when you're allowing just as many goals as you're giving up. That's tough. Kelowna somehow starts to get the ball rolling. That could be a potential first-round upset. If not, Tri-City may advance a round or two. But I just can't imagine them standing a chance against the other side of that conference. So we'll see what happens. Tri-City right now, you got to fix that team up a little bit, though. As for this week's episode of Around the CHL, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.